Hello and welcome to those who have already joined us on the webinar. We're starting a little bit early to let folks join, so just give us about 7 more minutes as we wait for folks to continue joining, but thank you for being here. We greatly appreciate it. Just want to say hello again to everybody who has joined. We're excited to have you as part of this webinar. We're just going to continue waiting a few more moments until we hit 3 o'clock Eastern while folks join. So thanks again for attending. We're excited to have you. Hello again to everyone. Just wanted to thank everyone who's joining the webinar right now again and let folks know we're just going to wait a few more minutes as folks continue to join. So thanks for being here. So we've just hit 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have several folks that are joining right as we hit 3. So we're just going to wait about 2 more minutes as folks continue to join, and then we will begin the webinar. Thanks again to everyone who's joined so far. We're really excited to see everybody here on the webinar, and we're just going to get started in about 1 more moment. All righty, let's get started. My name is Kara Cheslin. I'm the Director of Engagement at Solar United Neighbors and the co-organizer of the National Solar Tour, along with the American Solar Energy Society, and we have a representative from ACES here on the call today. I'm really excited to join you guys and to talk with everybody a little bit about the National Solar Tour and feature some very exciting experiences from several solar homeowners who have hosted solar open houses in the past. So before we get started, just a couple of webinar logistics here. So we're going to, this is our agenda of the day. So we're going to begin with some welcome remarks from Anya Schoolman, the Executive Director of Solar United Neighbors. I'll give a short overview about the National Solar Tour. We will hear from 4 different solar homeowners who hosted solar open houses on the 2018 National Solar Tour, including 2 mayors who have provided us with pre-recorded video clips, as well as 2 solar homeowners who we have live on the call, John McNamara and Mike Murphy. So thank you both for joining us. And we'll hear a little bit from Carly Cipolla, the co-organizer of the National Solar Tour, representing American Solar Energy Society, about organizing a multi-site local solar tour. And I'll share a couple of more key pieces of information on hosting a solar open house. And then we will have a live question and answer period where you can ask questions of our solar open house hosts that we have on the call, as well as the National Solar Tour organizers. A few more light logistics. We definitely welcome any questions that you have about any aspect of the National Solar Tour. The best way to ask questions is by typing your questions into the chat feature at the bottom of the Zoom portal that you're hopefully watching through your computer this webinar on. All of the questions are going to be answered during the last 20 to 30 minutes of this 1-hour webinar. So please feel free to put your questions into the chat section at any time, and just keep in mind that we will be answering them at the end of the webinar. You can also direct whether your question is for the National Solar Tour organizers or for the solar open house hosts. So if you'd like to indicate that on your question, that would be great. Everyone will receive a link to a recorded version of this webinar immediately, shortly after the webinar occurs. So in case you need to drop off early, or if you'd like to share this webinar with anybody else who might be interested, we will send you a link to the recorded version of this webinar. Finally, if you have any technical difficulties at all, which we very much hope that you don't, you're welcome to post into the chat any issues and we will try to help, as well as my colleague Alexis from Solar United Neighbors, who is also on the call, can be reached via her email address if you have any technical difficulties that we can help with. And first up, we're going to hear from the Executive Director of Solar United Neighbors, Anya Schoolman, who will give us some welcome remarks.
Thanks so much, Kara. I really thank all of you for joining us today. Solar United Neighbors is a national nonprofit. We are dedicated to the idea that we can build an energy system with rooftop solar as its cornerstone. We believe in a world where everyone can make their own energy, either on their roof or in their neighborhood or in their community, where solar builds and makes our community stronger by building and bringing in local jobs and cleaner energy. And we see a world soon where all of our energy is carbon free and there's more equity and more prosperity for all. And this event is one of the most important things that we all can do together to usher in that new world. We work in a bunch of different ways. Our theory of change is go solar, come together and fight for your energy rights. And that starts with go solar. Come together. This is part of come together, and energy rights is all the advocacy and all the work that everybody that's involved in this project does locally to get better permitting laws or better laws with their utility or better support for going solar. And it's all interconnected. What people say is to go solar, that the single most important factor in someone deciding to go solar is that they have met or spoken to someone who has gone solar. Those of you who've gone solar already know it's not that hard, but it's intimidating if you don't know and if you've never tried it. And that's why this event is just so important and so great. And I want to give a shout out. You're going to hear from ACES later, but ACES and the ACES chapters have been doing local versions of this at almost forever, almost since the beginning of solar, it seems like. And there's just these amazing local tours have been going on. It's all been done by volunteers. The entire movement is a volunteer-fueled movement. We couldn't do it without volunteers. And we're just so excited to be partnering with ACES to just blow up, connect the local tours, and make them all interconnected and more than the sum of the parts. So bringing all the tours together, highlighting the tours, and then adding in everybody in between. And we're really hoping that this year just blows it out of the park. And we think that those of you who've taken the time to log into this webinar are the key to that success. So thanks so much for joining us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anya. It's wonderful to hear your opening remarks. Great, so we're going to share a little bit of an overview about the National Solar Tour. I know that I've already seen some names on the call, but we have many folks who have hosted solar open houses in the past, many folks who have joined the tour this year already, and also some new faces and folks that are maybe interested and don't know too much about the National Solar Tour. So the National Solar Tour, the official weekend is this year, is October 5th and 6th, 2019. That we do also feature and support events that happen at other weekends and other times around that date, but the October 5th and 6th is our primary date. As Anya mentioned, this is a historical event that originally American Solar Energy Society and the many different chapters and groups all around the country were organizing local multi-site solar tours. And starting last year, Solar United Neighbors came on as a partner to join that effort. So the National Solar Tour is really an opportunity for hundreds of solar home and business owners all across the country to host solar open house events, to show off their solar systems and share their experiences going solar with their friends, neighbors, and interested folks in their community. And simultaneously, it's also a great chance for people who are interested in learning more about solar, people who might want to see a solar system up close and ask questions about solar owners about what it was like to go solar, to really and engage and connect with others in their community that support and are interested in solar. So it's really something that goes all across the country and encompasses anybody who supports solar, owns solar, cares about solar, wants to go solar. As I mentioned, the National Solar Tour is organized by two primary organizations, Solar United Neighbors and the American Solar Energy Society. These are a little bit more information about both organizations, but both are nonprofit organizations that are really dedicated to growing a diverse network and national community of solar supporters and solar owners. So with the National Solar Tour, Solar United Neighbors really supports the individual solar open house hosts, those solar owners that want to open their homes and talk with folks about their experience going solar, as well as the many different partner organizations and companies that we work with to help get the word out about the tour all around the country. And we also manage everything on the website, which is nationalsolartour.org, if you have not checked it out already. And ASIS, in addition to being the historical organizers of the tour, they really support the organizers of multi-site local tours that happen all across the country. Couple of statistics from last year's National Solar Tour, which was the first year where we opened up the opportunity to participate in the tour to any solar home or business owner all across the country that wanted to host their own event. We had 680 individual solar owners who hosted solar open houses, which is really quite amazing, many of whom are on the call. And thank you all for everyone who has participated last year and who is looking to participate this year. In addition, we had 52 different locally organized multi-site solar tours that could range from 3 to 50 different solar open houses. We had 48 states with events. So if anybody knows anyone in Oklahoma or North Dakota, which are the two states that we did not have representation on last year, please reach out to me personally. But really excited to have, solar owners representing and showing off their solar really all across the country. And then we estimate that there were around 10,000 people who attended the solar open houses in 2018, which is really amazing. And possibly even more important, the dozens of different organizations and solar companies all around the country that worked to help spread the word and identify solar owners who would be interested in hosting and helped make the tour as successful as it was last year. So we're talking a lot about a solar open house, and you're going to hear from some solar owners about their experiences hosting solar open houses on the tour. So what is a solar open house? It's really meant to be an informal open house style event that's organized and implemented by the solar owner themselves, where interested visitors around their area, whether those be folks that the solar owner directly knows as friends, neighbors, or colleagues, or folks who may have heard about the event locally and are just interested in learning about solar, can stop by and connect with the solar owner and check out the solar system during a set time frame during that October 5th and 6th National Solar Tour weekend. So during a solar open house, you'll hear a lot more details about this, but essentially folks will be taken on a tour of the solar system by the solar owner to learn just a little bit about how solar works, how your solar panels might integrate with your home, or if you have a ground mount system with your property. Hear a little bit about the solar owner's reasons and process for going solar. As Anya mentioned a little earlier, we find that folks who have solar in their neighborhood, or folks who know somebody that have solar, are much more likely to actually go solar because they can see the viability and really connect with that with somebody that they know or that they can kind of relate with. As well as perusing just solar information and connecting with folks in their community that are interested in solar. We're really excited to help build a national community of solar supporters, as well as build local community support for solar all across the country. Solar open houses can be standalone, so one individual solar owner can just decide to do their own event, or for folks that are excited about organizing more folks in their community to participate, a solar open house can be part of a multiple site local solar tour. So there's a lot of different options and ways to get involved. And finally, what's possibly most important is there's no requirement as a solar open house host to let visitors inside of your home. One of the best things about solar is that you can see almost all of the components of it from the outside. So we definitely encourage folks, weather dependent, of course, to consider hosting their entire events outside. So you definitely don't need to invite people into your home if you do not want to. Finally, one thing that's most important to just highlight again for anybody that's on the call, any home, business, school, nonprofit organization, religious institution, community solar array, anybody across the country who has solar is definitely invited and welcome to sign up to host a solar open house on the tour. And that's one of the things that's most exciting to us, is seeing the wide variety of different types of solar arrays and different types of solar homes, businesses, and other buildings being featured on the tour. It really provides a rich experience for folks who are attending events. So with that, to dive a little bit more deeply into what a solar open house is like, we're going to hear from 4 different solar owners, which we greatly appreciate joining us as part of this webinar. The first 2 are 2 mayors in Florida who are solar homeowners and hosted solar open houses last year. We will be showing pre-recorded video clips of those 2 mayors. And then afterwards, we'll be joined live by 2 solar homeowners, John McNamara and Mike Murphy, who are solar open house hosts previously, as well as planning to host this year. So with that, I will turn it over to my colleague Alexis, who will share the lovely videos from our mayor.
Hey guys, my name's Alexis, and I'm excited to share with you guys the videos that we have from the 2 Florida mayors. We're going to start with Mayor Deitch here.
Deitch. Hello, my name is Daniel Deitch. I'm an environmental consultant during the day, and I primarily focus on solid waste planning for municipalities as well as for private businesses. In my spare time, I'm also the mayor of the town of Surfside. So I'm pleased to join you today in talking about my experiences going solar. So the journey for me started about 4 years ago when I contemplated replacing my roof. In our town, we do allow metal roofs, and I was very excited about the prospect of installing a metal roof. But then I got to thinking, is there a better time to install solar than at the same time that you're replacing your roof? And I know that the installation has come a long way, but in my mind, with limited knowledge, it seemed to make a lot of sense to me. So that's when we started looking into solar panels. We had first looked at solar panels, probably 8 years ago, before net metering existed in the state of Florida, and it just didn't make economic sense at that time. But now, there are many more reasons that solar panels make sense. First, we live in Florida, and we have a lot of sunshine. Also, there are federal tax credits that help reduce the capital costs. And probably most important is that the system eventually pays for itself. So my wife and I, we decided to install a 10 kW system in 2015. It's a little unique. We used a PACE financing program. PACE stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy. So we did not have to take money from a bank. We used the equity in our home as the means to finance our project. It was very easy. And over the last 3 years, our electric bills went from about $200 to $300 a month to an average of $30. It really is incredible. So now Going Solar is aligned with our climate-related agenda in Surfside. Beyond creating the PACE financing option, we've also supported our local Solar United Neighbors Co-op, and that's served as a catalyst for many in our community who have now also chosen to go solar. So last year I received an invitation to host a solar open house, and I really enjoyed that experience because it gave me the opportunity to speak to my neighbors and others in the communities that surround Surfside about why we thought going solar was important, what our experiences was, and really demystify a lot of the unknowns that folks that aren't familiar with the program were interested in. So that's what we did. We talked about the benefits, how easy it is to go solar, and it's incredible how much interest there is and how many more homes have been able to go solar. So it's always important to reach out to your community that you live in, understand what the requirements are. Many communities, particularly in South Florida, provide incentives that lower the cost of permitting or eliminate the cost of permitting, as well as expediting the process. So I encourage you to participate in the Solar Open House program, and thank you for the opportunity to share my story with you.
Great. So next up, we're going to be sharing our video from Mayor Stoddard, also from Florida.
Hi, I'm Phillip.
It's getting started ahead of us.
Hi, I'm Phillip Stoddard, also the mayor of South Miami. We went solar about 5 years ago, and we did it because we were tired of using fossil fuels to make the electricity to run our house. So I'm sitting here at summertime right now. The air conditioning is on. It's all solar powered. You see those bright lights? Those are solar light tubes. Everything here is solar powered, even the car. And it feels great. So last year we also decided to join the solar tour and have people in because we wanted to show people that it was possible and show them what it was like. And since then we've had so many positive interactions with people who came by the house during the solar tour. A lot of them went solar themselves, but when I meet them around the community, they said, yes, oh, I've been to your house, I saw your solar setup, you really inspired me to do it. So it was really a joy to have. People came in, we had maybe 30 folks come through. My wife and I sort of tag teamed and took them all around. So we had a ladder set up in the yard so they could take a little peek and see what the solar system was. We showed them inverters. We had all the materials set out on the dining room table, showing the photographs of the system from above, so you don't have to go up on a ladder and look, and showing them what our power bills were before and after, and explaining what the finances were. It was all very simple. People really enjoyed themselves and had a good time. So we're going to do it again this fall. The only addition this year is that we now have batteries that can support the entire house when the power is down. And we've run that system a couple times for a week off grid. Works great. So we're really set. And we're looking very much forward to the solar tour and hoping that we get as many people this year as we did last year. So you should do the same. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Next, we're going to turn the time over to John McNamara in Maryland, and he's going to share his story about being a solar home tour host as well.
Thanks, Alexis. It's a pleasure to be picked to talk about this. I'm a big fan of solar. Went solar about 3.5 years ago, and have hosted 2 open houses now, one just recently, a couple weeks ago. And what worked for me was to break the tour into 2 parts, an inside part and an outside part. And the people wander in at different times, so they would either join while I'm doing the outside part or the inside part. It didn't matter, and then they could just wander away after they got both halves. On the outside part, it's pretty straightforward. You can stand on the curb or on the sidewalk and see the whole 33 panels on our roof. And I talk about that, and then I walk them around back to where the inverter is and show them how it goes into the house and then comes out through the utilities net metering thing, and how the net metering shows that the power has been negative. The power from the utility has been negative for the full 3 years that we've had the system. And then we go back inside, and I have I put together a couple of slides of my electric bill and the app that you have on your phone, some screenshots of that. And I was able to, put them up on the TV screen, just sit people down and show them the cost. My costs have gone to zero. I have a 9.4 kilowatt system, and I was paying about $1,700 a year in electric bills, and now it's been zero for the last 2.5 years. And that always gets a big reaction when I show that. The questions I tend to get are, not very surprising. A lot of them center around money, and I have a slightly different take that I use when talking about the cost of the system. First of all, I do like my final slide is just an Excel spreadsheet that spells out very clearly. I bought 33 panels. Each one was 285 watts. Each watt cost $2.75. This was the total cost of the system. This was my federal rebate. This was my state rebate. This was the net cost to me. And this is what I guess it would cost with what I've heard about prices this year. And so my system, I estimate, would probably cost about $15,000 after rebates nowadays. And I tell people, don't ask yourself how many years it would take for that to pay for itself. Think of it as a savings bond that has a face value of, say, $15,000. If you buy the bond, based on studies, it's very likely that when you go to sell your house, you'll get back that full $15,000. That the return on solar is better than doing a kitchen remodeling or bathroom remodeling, where you typically get like 50 or 60% back. You can get close to 100% according to the study I saw. And so the money is still there, the resource is still there, and it's generating income like a bond, but for me, it's generating a rate of 10% a year of my investment. So I'm getting 10% a year. There's no tax on it because it's money I'm not spending on the utilities that I can use for whatever else I want. And it just frees up money that I would be spending on electric. And it's 10% basically forever. It may go up as the utility prices go up, but I know that it's at least a 10% return on investment. So I say if you have any money sitting around for retirement, et cetera, this is an excellent place to diversify your portfolio. And that seems to get a good reaction. Some questions are harder than others, and I always shamelessly point to Solar United Neighbors and just say, well, the co-op's got the expertise, you should ask them. That's what it's so great. That's what makes this process so painless, is that they're there to help you vet the vendors and et cetera. And it goes very smoothly. Most people stay for about, I'd say, half an hour. And the first time I did it, since then, 3, maybe 4 of my neighbors have signed up and put solar on the roofs. That's it for me. Oh, so let me introduce the other panelist, Mike Murphy from down in Virginia. He's I think has a good story to tell about how you recruit people to come and show up at your open house. Mike, you still there?
Had some muting problems. Thank you, John. But I am here, and I'm Mike Murphy, and I'm currently in hot and humid Florida, Valparaiso, Florida to be exact. But I do live in Virginia, in the little town of Boston, Virginia. And I first became interested in solar in 1988. I actually had a grant through the Georgia Solar Coalition or something similar. And I installed solar panels and a solar hot water heater on my high school. And that was over 30 years ago. I want to talk a little bit about location. I know a lot of you may live in a subdivision or a neighborhood where people drive up and down the street all day long. And people drive up and down my street all day long, but my driveway is a half a mile long and I live in the woods. So for me, getting out and networking is really, really important. And the whole conversation about solar for me is a networking conversation. I have to ask myself, who do I know that might be interested? And I'm a member of numerous organizations that I think have a lot of potential for interesting visits or interesting people. I have listservs, I have email lists, and I also use a lot of signage out on my street. And believe it or not, I get a lot of drive-bys in the middle of the woods from the sign that Solar United Neighbors sends me that says Solar Open House Today. So for me, it's about getting the word out. We do live in a passive solar home, and we've been fortunate to be featured several times in our local newspaper. So folks are familiar with our structurally insulated panels and our Superior Walls Foundation. And for us, the progression to solar was just another piece of the puzzle, and we've really enjoyed it. But I do a lot of networking, personal invitations, emails, the yard sign, and I even invite the elected officials. I invite my entire board of supervisors, the town council, and a lot of the emergency management people that live in our area that circulate in some of the groups that I belong to. When folks actually come to the house, like John, we break them up into two pieces, or two parts, if you will. We take them wherever they are. We do the outside tour, which is pretty simple. This is the conduit, this is the inverter. And we walk down the hill and look up on the roof, and there's the solar array. But we also go in and talk about the vendor app that helps us understand the consumption and what we're producing. We talk about the electrical cooperative app. I usually have handouts from Solar United Neighbors as well as some presentations that I put together myself. And then I have a somewhat complicated spreadsheet for the geek in me that actually helps me go through my electric bill every month. And I just got my electric bill a couple days ago. And for the year, I came in at $297 for electricity, or a little less than $25 a month. And that includes the electric car. So we're doing really good, but it's about location, it's about getting the word out, and it's about having fun. If you can't spend the 3 or 4 hours on a weekend and have fun and invite people out to see something special, it's probably not for you. But if you can make it fun, it's definitely a great day.
Thank you so much, Mike. I love the emphasis on fun. We completely agree. That is a very important part. Wonderful. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Carly Cipolla, who is the co-national solar tour organizer with myself. And Carly works for the American Solar Energy Society, and she's going to speak a little bit about organizing a local solar tour. Well, yeah. Carly, I'll turn it over to you.
Great, thanks, Kara. Yeah, so I'm Carly Cipolla. I'm like Kara said, I'm the co-director of the National Solar Tour with her and the director of operations for the American Solar Energy Society. And yeah, I want to talk to you a little bit about hosting a local solar tour. So you've heard all about hosting a solar open house, and essentially a local solar tour is a bundle of a bunch of solar open houses in and around your community. They don't have to be in the same neighborhood. There can be some traveling involved. A lot of local solar tours use bicycles to get from place to place, or carpools. So let me tell you a little bit more about how you can sign up and get some more information. So nationalsolartour.org/local tours is the official website and form to sign up to host a local solar tour. The deadline is coming up at the end of this month on July 31st. And we do have also a local organizer's toolkit on that webpage that's linked to a resources page that's in a Dropbox with a lot of other resources that you can use and review as a local solar tour. Once you sign up to become a local solar tour, I send you a Google sheet where you can input all of the different host sites or individual solar open houses on a Google sheet, and you can list out some information on there. ASIS also provides some physical resources for you as a local solar tour, including yard signs and a tour brochure with some solar home basics and stuff like that in there. And Sun this year is also offering the opportunity to have a custom web page for local tours. You can also decide to have a web page for each solar open house if you decide to do that, instead of just having one for the entire local solar tour. So Kara with Sun is working on that and all the RSVP logistics there for the web page. But like I said, it's completely customizable, which is great. And we're so glad that Sun was able to offer that this year. And then the Google Sheet that you'll get, there's just a deadline to fill in your host sites by the 15th, so we can put those on the online map and have all of that together around the end of August. And then I need those yard sign and tour brochure orders, so we can get those mailed to you by the time of your tour, and hopefully early October. But you can decide to have your tour at any point in time, either, you know, September, October, whatever's a good weekend for you. It does not have to be the official weekend. Also, we recommend, you know, being sure that you're marketing your local tour. We do have some resources also to help you as far as marketing, and some recommendations as far as social media marketing, and being sure that you're connecting with ACES and Sun on social media, so we can share the information about your local tours as well. So that's all I have about hosting a local solar tour. If you have any other questions, you can contact me at solartour@aces.org. And I want to thank Kara and Sun again for having me on the webinar today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Carly. That was great. And Carly will also be available to answer questions at the end of this webinar. Shameless plug, please, and ask your questions, any question that you might have for the National Solar Tour organizers or our lovely Solar Open House hosts, by typing your question into the chat feature. We would love to hear your questions and answer them shortly. Okay, so now that we talked about the local solar tour, which again is a multiple open house organized group of open houses doing as part of one local solar tour. As we mentioned earlier, you can also just be one individual person, a homeowner, business owner, who would like to host their own solar open house, regardless if there's anything else going on in your area. And so to do that, the first step is signing up at nationalsolartour.org/host. The deadline to sign up to host an individual solar open house is September 6th. So as Carly mentioned, it's a little bit earlier to indicate if you would like to organize a multi-site local tour, but if you just want to do your own open house, you can wait a little bit later into the summer. We also really encourage you to check out our Solar Open House Toolkit. We've created this toolkit that's a relatively short document, but pretty comprehensive overview on the experience of hosting a solar open house, kind of from start to finish, to make it as easy as possible for you to lead an awesome event and enjoy, have a great time talking with folks about your experience going solar. We will then, once you sign up, create a custom Solar Open House RSVP webpage for you. So you will have your own direct link where you can send to your friends and neighbors and folks that you know to help promote your event and encourage them to attend. Solar United Neighbors, as well as ACES, will also be spreading the word about your event, along with many other partner organizations and companies that we work with. But some of the most effective promotion, as Mike kind of indicated, really comes from the Solar Open House host kind of reaching out to your networks and getting the word out in your local community. The Open House RSVP page is a great way to do that digitally. And the nice thing, as Carly indicated, is that you'll also be able to log into your RSVP webpage. You can edit your open house description. You can add photos of your solar system, which make it really fun for people to check out and learn more as they're deciding whether they would like to come to your event. And you'll also be able to see the list of people who have RSVP'd for your events. You'll be able to kind of see how your promotion is going and have a little bit of a sense ahead of time of how many people to expect. Of course, people do not need to RSVP for your event because solar open house events are public. But we do encourage folks to RSVP because, of course, it makes it that much more likely that they might actually be able or choose to attend. So in addition to promoting your solar open house to your friends and neighbors digitally, we also encourage you to reach out to any organizations that you're part of or community groups. reaching out to your local media ahead of time to see if they'll run a story or do a little statement about your event and maybe their community calendar or their upcoming events that are happening, as well as trying to get local media to attend your event, because that can be a really awesome way to spread solar in your community. We also will send you a physical resource package in the mail that you will include a solar open house yard sign, as well as promotional flyers that will directly encourage people to attend your specific solar open house with your link, so that you can pass those out at homes in your neighborhood or post them at local coffee shops and libraries and other places in your community that will help get the word out. Additionally, as Mike mentioned a bit earlier, we will provide a bunch of solar resource materials to you, really solar 101, kind of some solar FAQs, basic information, some photos of different types of solar installations. So say you have a rooftop system, but somebody's interested in learning about what it would mean to have a ground mount system. We'll have a photo of a ground mount system that you'll have that you'll be able to show them. So we try to equip you with some resources to make it really easy to talk to folks about solar. And you're also encouraged to create your own resources if you're interested, or reach out to your local solar or your solar installation company who did your install and ask them if they would like to be present at your event or provide any other materials. Often as well, solar installation companies may have a photo of your solar system. So if you're interested in having a photo featured on your RSVP page, or maybe your panels are a little bit hard to see from the ground, you may want to ask your installation company if they might have a photo that they could share with you. Finally, I wanted to share some really exciting stats, which are honestly changing by the minute. So these actually may be out of date already, even though I just pulled them from our website. But this year, we already have 119 individual homes and businesses with solar who have signed up to host solar open houses, which is really exciting, especially we're only in July, so folks are planning ahead, which is amazing. We also have 18 locally organized multi-site tours, as well as 33 different states in the country that already have events. So we're getting close to 50 states, which is our goal for this year. And we also would love to have as many solar open houses and local solar tours as possible. You can see this is a photo of our National Solar Tour map, which you can access at nationalsolartour.org/map. And the orange icons indicate solar open houses, and the little gray purple icons indicate local solar tours. And you can click in there and it's interactive. You can add, put in your zip code or your address and see events near you. So definitely play around on the map. And if you find any interesting events in your area, or maybe you have a friend or family member across the country who's interested in solar, definitely pull up an event near them and send it to them. But we're constantly adding more events to this map all the time. And again, the deadline to sign up to host a solar open house isn't until September 6th. So there's still a lot of time to tell your friends and family who may have solar, or anybody, even in your community, any solar arrays that you know, that they can still sign up to be involved with the tour. And finally, I'll just leave you with many different web links, which again, this presentation will be emailed to you, so don't feel like you need to memorize all of these links immediately. But we have the link to our National Solar Tour map of all of our events that is live and updating all the time. The link to sign up to both host a solar open house or to sign up to organize a multi-site solar tour. We also are inviting solar installation companies and local community organizations of any type anywhere across the country to join the National Solar Tour as official partners. And through this, we will list your logo on the National Solar Tour website. We will also send you a bunch of promotional materials and email templates to help us spread the word about the tour in your area and get as many folks involved as possible. We also have many of those promotional materials already listed on a website that you can access at nationalsolartour.org/promo. And finally, myself and Carly's contact information at the bottom here. So if you'd like to reach out to either of us with any questions at all about the tour, we will happily determine who should answer your question and get back to you as soon as possible to provide you with any support or answers to any questions that you may have regarding the tour. And now we're going to go into our live question and answer time frame. So once again, shameless plug, please put any questions that you have into the chat feature of Zoom. And we have about 18 minutes or so to answer questions. So hopefully we'll be able to get through several. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Alexis, who will be reading off the questions for us and letting us know whether the question is for the National Solar Tour organizers or for our Solar Open House hosts.
Yeah, guys, so I just wanted to answer two that have been replied to in the chat box that are kind of simple detail questions. One of them was, can the homeowner set the hours for the tour? And Carly did respond to that on there. You can see, but I just wanted to share with everyone so you're aware that you are able to choose the date and the time that works for you for your solar open house. That is up to you to decide. So no worries about that. And then there's been several questions, Kara or Carly, if you want to address people who want to get connected with other solar open houses that are happening in their area or connected into a tour, what should be their next steps?
Yeah, that's a great question. As much as possible, we really want to connect like many solar owners in one particular area with each other so that you all can help to promote the different events that you're doing and work together and encourage as many folks as possible to learn about solar in your area. So if you are a person who is feeling inspired and interested in trying to organize multiple events that in your community, or maybe you know a couple of solar owners that you'd like to work with, we definitely would encourage you to consider organizing a multi-site local solar tour. So you can sign up at nationalsolartour.org/local tours, and you don't have to know all of the sites that are on your tour when you sign up. You can just indicate that you're interested in organizing a tour with the basic information, and then we can help you then connect with other solar owners who have signed up to host solar open houses, as well as provide you with resources and ideas on how to recruit other solar owners in your area to participate. If you are just an individual solar owner who doesn't want to organize a local multi-site tour, but would like to connect with other solar open house hosts in your area, I would highly encourage you to indicate that in the, I believe there's like a notes or description section of the Solar Open House host sign up form, which is just nationalsolartour.org/host, as well as to email solartour@solarunitedneighbors.org or solartour@aces.org and just let us know that you would like to connect with other folks in your area who have signed up, and we'd be happy to connect you with those folks. So we definitely encourage that, and we find it can be really successful at generating local media, generating a lot of attendance at events, and also creating, you know, a connectedness and a relationship between you and other folks that have gone solar in your community.
Thank you, Kara. One more other question that I'll quickly answer was if you had to go solar through a Solar United Neighbors co-op to be able to participate. And Anya answered that question in the chat box, but just so everyone's aware, you do not have to. It's open to anyone who has gone solar. As Kara mentioned, doesn't have to be a home. It can be a business, a nonprofit, library, anything like that. And we did have a question come up that, Kara, if you want to address any specific information for a business, what they should do to sign up to be a host?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yes, just to reiterate, we want anybody to sign up to host and be involved, whether you've ever heard of Solar United Neighbors or not. We will be happy to engage with you and help you host a really awesome event. So for the question on, sorry, can you just repeat the question real quick?
They're just asking if there's any specific information for businesses.
Right, of course. So on the Solar Open House host sign up form, which again is nationalsolartour.org/host, the first question that you'll be asked actually will be to indicate what type of solar building that you have. So there was an option as a drop down for business, and we will then ask you both for the contact person at your business who would like to be the organizer, as well as the name of your business, so that when your Solar Open House appears on the National Solar Tour map, it will appear with the actual name of your business and not just your address. We also highly encourage businesses to participate because you can just host a Solar Open House during your regular operating hours on either day during the National Solar Tour weekend, and just have some extra information out about solar and maybe even do a little bit of marketing on your business social media or to your business list to let anybody who patrons your business know that you'll be specifically talking about your solar and kind of connecting with folks who are interested in solar.
Great, thanks, Kara. We have a question from Alice about specifically, she has a flat roof installation with a safe roof hatch access area. Are we encouraged or discouraged from taking folks up onto the roof? And is there any like forms that they should be signing to be able to have people up on the roof to view the solar system?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think the most important thing is safety, of course. So it sounds like you have a safe access to your roof. And we have definitely had solar open house hosts that do take folks up on your roof. It's definitely really important to make sure that it is safe and that there's no possible way anybody could get injured or fall off of your roof, because that would be terrible. And also to make sure that you're staying up there with folks as they are up on your roof, so that you're actually completely aware of what is going on. That being said, another really great option is to try to take some photos up on your roof, especially if you have access, not just because of the safety concern, but there also may be folks from an accessibility perspective who want to attend your event who may not be able to get up onto your roof. So it can be really helpful if you have some photos that you can show folks who might not be, quite ready to get up onto a roof. As well as we mentioned a little earlier, if you don't have photos of your roof or can't get an overhead view of your flat roof solar array, it can be a great idea to reach out to your solar installer, because often they have drone cameras that can that they may have already taken a photo of your solar system or might be able to help you do that. So reaching out to them a little bit earlier and letting them know that you're going to have this event and they're excited to talk with folks about the solar system, and do they have any resources or any photos that they can help you with, can be really helpful, especially because they might, we've had some folks who contact their installer, and their installer will provide them with like a plan of what the solar array exactly looks like and all of the panels, and they can also have some additional materials and resources that could be helpful to share with visitors of your event.
Thanks, Kara. There's a couple of questions about the materials that you'll be sending to people. First thing, have you sent those to people who have signed up, the brochures and signs? And then another question about some people live in places that are gated and or have an HOA where they're not able to put up signs. Has there been any like workarounds that you know of in the past around that, or any advice on working with that situation where you might not be able to put signs directly out in your yard?
Yeah, those are great questions. So none of the resource packages have been mailed out yet. For individual solar open house hosts, the resources will begin to be mailed out in August. We'll also send out an email to all of the solar open house hosts so that you can indicate if there are items that you don't want us to send you in the resource package, especially for folks who may have participated in the past and already have extra resources. If you're organizing a local multi-site tour, ACES also has not sent out the tour brochures or the signs yet, but you will receive an email if you haven't not already once you sign up to organize a local tour, which will let you order your yard signs and brochures. So they will provide more information. If Carly's still on the line, if you know a timeline when you're thinking about sending those ones out.
Yeah, so right now we just are looking to have all of the orders in by August 15th. And then we'll go through the ordering process towards the end of August and hope to have everything mailed out and at your doorstep between around mid-September. Latest would be like late September.
Great. And then I think that's a very interesting question about signage. It's definitely something I've heard a lot of different opinions and experiences on. So I'd love to give some other panelists an opportunity to share on this as well. One thing I can say is that if you do live in a gated community, definitely communicating with if you have a station at the front of your community that folks will have to pass through, to talk with them about how you'll be able to let folks into your community, whether you might need to provide them with a particular passcode, or if you'll maybe need to have a volunteer, either a family member or a friend who could be willing to kind of hang out at the front of your gated community and, sort of flag folks down that are looking for your solar tour. That could be helpful too if you're not able to have signs out. Someone could actually just stand there holding a sign, which wouldn't actually be as much of an issue on that front. We've also had a lot of folks in rural areas that are sometimes actually interested in more signage, or find that putting their signs at the turns to their road, like onto the different roads, as opposed to in their actual front yard, is more effective. Do other folks on the panel want to speak to this point?
Mike here. One of the things I know in gated communities and other communities, look for the community bulletin board. Many of those communities also have Facebook pages or social media sites where you can advertise. So there may be ways of electronically sharing the good news about your open house with your neighborhood group, et cetera, et cetera. If you have flyers, make sure you don't put them in mailboxes. You can put them in newspaper boxes. You can put them behind screen doors. Don't put them in mailboxes. And you just have to be creative sometimes. Like Kara said, I like lots of signs, because once you get as far away from civilization as my house, you need to know where you're going. But look for alternative methods, and especially social media sites.
Yeah, my experience is that with the HOA in my area, is the HOA president went solar himself, and not through SUN, but with one of the commercial companies, and so he's very forward leaning on this sort of stuff. It doesn't hurt to just reach out to the board, the president or other members of the board, and just talk them through it and see what sort of reaction you get.
One other thing that we've seen other local tour organizers and solar open house hosts do, if you're not able to put out signs, is maybe to put some balloons at your door, or right at the, on your mailbox or something like that. So just to indicate that there's something going on at your house, even if you're not able to have the yard sign out, to let folks know that this is the right house and there is something going on.
Great, thank you all for your advice on that. And it looks like Joan was mentioning that she lives in a gated community where you'd have to provide a list of names, and that's a possibility. If that's what you have to do for your open house, we would coordinate with the RSVP list for what works best for your open house. So Kara would be able to coordinate with you specifically on how to best run that for your situation, in case by case. There are two other questions about the kit. If there were any fees for the kit, and there's not a fee for that, as well as if you were able to share other materials, including like your solar installer materials at the open house, and you're welcome to share other materials at your open house. Another question for you guys is, would you be able to change the time that you sign up for? If someone is not 100% sure what time or day they want to sign up for right now, are they able to sign up for a time and then change it? And along those lines, when they get the link to their RSVP page, will they have the ability to change any details from there?
Yes and yes. You will be able to, at any time, you can just email me at solartour@solarneighbors.org with your specific situation. I'm more than happy to make any changes that you'd like. You'll also, once you sign up to host a solar open house, you'll receive a link with login information for you to log in and edit any information about your solar open house, including your address, your date, time, location, any description. I was going to mention one other thing for the person who was mentioning about the gated community. You could actually add into your description on your solar open house webpage that you do need to RSVP for your event in order to be able to attend, because you need to provide a list to your HOA or your gated community. So just keep that in mind too. Like, you have complete reign over what language you want to have included on your RSVP webpage.
Thank you, Kara. One of the questions from Chris said he'd like to get more information about best practices and what's worked in the past. And we do have the toolkit that we'll share with you, but maybe John and Mike might have a few tips and tricks that they wanted to share, as well as we'll be doing down the line further webinars with more information that are specifically for people who have signed up as hosts. But if John or Mike have any thoughts they want to share quickly about any best practices or ideas?
Okay, I'll start. The it's basically a very simple process, so it's best not to overthink it. My problem was somebody asked about snacks, and I way overdid that. And I dialed it back the second time, and it was still too much. I think if you put out cookies and water, a lot of people feel funny. They're already getting a free tour of your home and don't want to take anything. Just very light munchies. Like say cookies, water, and Coca-Cola. Would be plenty. And it's very helpful to have two people hosting it, so that you can move the people around and keep an eye on everybody. That's it for me.
I agree with the don't overdo it on the snacks part, and I also agree very much with the two people helping to host. You'll need somebody to be a greeter that can steer them left or right to pass out materials. So a spouse or a partner or a neighbor would be great. And again, look for alternative ways of connecting with people. It's just really not enough anymore to put a yard sign in your front yard. The personal invitation is the way to go, and it takes a little time to personally invite, but you can have a canned email that you send individually to a lot of people, and a lot of people just want to see what's inside your house too. So if you're open to sharing your house, you'll get people come just because they want to see what kind of furniture you have. It's kind of a crazy day in some ways, but it's a lot of fun.
Great, thank you both for sharing. We have one more question about the materials being prepared in Spanish. Kara, do you have information on that?
Yes, we definitely do have materials available in Spanish. Last year we had a lot of promotional materials, flyers, social media graphics that we created in Spanish. And I would be more than happy to have the actual resource package that we provide translated, or have both Spanish and English copies for anybody that was interested. So again, if you would like to just send me a message specifically at solartour@solar9neighbors.org with that request, we'd be more than happy to do that. We really want to focus on making these events inclusive for as many people as possible, and making it, comfortable and informative for everybody, no matter what language you speak.
Great. Well, I'm going to wrap it up and turn it over to Kara to finish things up. As you have any more questions, Kara will share information on who to connect with. I want to give a shout out to Thomas, who just said he just signed up to be a host, and we're excited to have you guys all here with us today.
Awesome. Thank you all so very much. Once again, thank you very much to our panelists, especially John and Mike, for sharing their experiences doing what we're all talking about. I think they've had really positive experiences, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to talk more with anybody that's interested. As Alexis mentioned, once you do sign up as a host, which we would love for you to do, there will be other webinars that will focus more in depth on how to give a great tour of your solar system, how to successfully promote your event, and some other tricks of the trade. So we'll really be providing ongoing support to folks who are interested in hosting. Thank you very much to the person who just signed up, and we really encourage you to consider participating, whether that be hosting a solar open house, organizing a multi-site local solar tour, or signing up as a partner, or just attending an event. So thank you all very, very much. And again, we will be sending this webinar with all of the links that were provided via email. So look out for that, and please encourage anybody you know who has solar to learn about the tour and consider hosting a solar open house or getting involved. Thank you all very much. Have a great day and a great weekend.